What's up, drop services? Dylan Sigley here. In this video here, we're going to be talking about how to get sales with Facebook, and in particular, how we got this sale here using a strategy on Facebook targeting business owners that you can go right away and use yourself. And we're also going to be talking about a little strategy that I use to push potential clients over the fence when they have some worries and doubts. And you're going to be able to take this template and this strategy, go and start your Facebook campaign, push any potential clients over the fence, and scale your drop servicing business. Let's do it. So essentially what happened with this sale here is the client had seen one of our ads on Facebook, they filled out a form and they found our website, and from there they got in contact with us, but they had some worries and doubts around whether they wanted to pay 100% up front. So they were a little bit worried about paying, but literally all you need to do in these cases is just tell them that that's how it works, and then they're going to be happy to do it with you. So the template that I use for this, I'll show you now, was pretty simple, and it allowed us to push them over the fence when it came to making the purchase. So when it comes to Facebook advertising with drop servicing, it's a little different, right? For example, with Amazon FBA or drop shipping, you're targeting a pretty general audience usually. You're not going as deep for the most part as trying to find decision makers at companies that have a budget for your service. So you need to be very specific with who you're targeting. Luckily, I'm about to share a few strategies with you here that none of the other drop services out there really know about, because to be honest with you, not many people use Facebook for drop servicing. Not many of the people that I've met that actually do drop servicing like me actually use Facebook for drop servicing, and the people out there that might say they do probably can't show you the results from their Facebook advertising campaigns either. So these strategies are, first of all, to target job titles. Obviously we want decision makers, right? So we can get our audience down really well by just targeting job titles, and there's so many job titles to choose from, so you can just go down the list of different decision-making job titles such as founder, co-founder, owner, CEO, managing director, president, vice president, marketing manager. All of these are great job titles to target on Facebook. The next option you have is you could target a combination of these two. So you can target small business owners plus Facebook page admins. If you add those two together, it can be a really great audience to target as well. Then your third option is actually to create custom audiences by downloading lists of leads using something like Snowvio, then uploading that list to Facebook as a custom audience. You're going to create lookalike audiences from that custom list that you can target. So you could, for example, upload a list of 1,000 CEOs, and then when you create a lookalike audience of those 1,000 CEOs, you're going to have a very targeted campaign. And this is going to be very powerful. If you test all three of those strategies, you're going to get some pretty great results. So I recommend starting with those three to get started. But what we're going to get into later on in this video is actually an in-depth tutorial where I take you through the process of building a Facebook campaign step by step. So it's pretty exciting stuff, but before we do, I want to use this example on the screen here of a sale from Facebook to kind of provide you with an illustration of another concept, which is being willing to walk away. Because if you're willing to walk away, then you're not going to give so much ground to potential clients that you end up losing out, right? It needs to be a win-win situation. And if you know you're being win-win and your potential client isn't being win-win, then you really need to stand your ground. And this is really what happened in this case. So what happened was this person reached out to us, and they seem like a great person. There's nothing against them. I'm blurring out all the information, everything, of course, but I just want to give you this as a general idea. So they were excited to get started. They said next steps, we need to get the ball rolling, which is awesome, right? So once he said let's get the ball rolling, I sent him the link to the website to make his purchase. I explained to him how to go about the process and make the purchase. Then from there, the next step was they said great, thanks, which is cool. But then it got a little bit strange. So they said, Dylan, I have not received the email with next steps after clicking your link below. It's not in junk. I signed up over 2 hours ago. Please advise. So this was a little bit weird because they said they had signed up, but they hadn't made a purchase yet. So they kind of misunderstood what I said or ignored what I said in terms of making a purchase on the website. So this is where things get a little bit weird, and you need to be willing to just stand your ground in these kind of cases where people push things a little bit. Then he responded after I told him, you need to actually make the purchase. I don't see a purchase. He said, no, I clicked the link which prompted me to a page asking for my name and email. I put my information in the page, check my email. I never received that email. I just checked online link, and basically he didn't really understand he needed to make a purchase on the website. He ended up filling out a form on the website for a link to download a lead magnet. But then he said, that said, we're not comfortable paying before seeing the finished product. What sort of guarantees do you offer in terms of quality of video meeting our expectations? But saying they're not comfortable paying before they see the finished product doesn't mean that they're not going to pay before they see the finished product. And you need to realize this is the case. You don't need to give way to every single thing that your potential clients ask of you. You can stand your ground, and by telling someone that this is the way it is, they're going to assume that that's the normal way things go, right? Because they're not used to working with companies like yours in most cases anyway. They might say, hey, this is what past companies have done with me, and that's great, but usually they're just kind of making things up on their end, making things up of how they would like things to work without actually realizing how things work. So it's your job to tell them how things work, especially in these cases where they push the boundaries a little bit, saying that they don't want to do the way things work. You just need to be like straight up, hey, we won't be able to work together if you can't do things the way things work. So that's really key. So after they said that, my response was, if you're not comfortable paying before we begin, then we simply can't begin, sadly. The guarantees and the 100 of reviews and example videos on our website sounds like you filled out the contact form and got the link to download our script guide. So yeah, I was just basically letting them know, we've got examples and testimonials on our website. If that's not enough of a guarantee for you, then we won't be able to work together, because you need to make a purchase before we begin working together, right? We need to pay our team. So this is a really great template that you can use when you get this kind of reaction, which is rare to be fair, but when it does happen, you do need to know what to say, right? And it is comfortable and nice to feel like you need to know what to say. So yeah, take this template, go ahead and use it. And just to show you that it works, their response after that was simply just to make a purchase on the website. So they basically responded, I have made payment and I'm working on the doc. We'll send it on Monday at the latest. Thanks. So that's all you need to do. You're not going to get a major pushback from potential clients when you do stand your ground. You're just letting them know, in a nice way, that this is how things work. So if you want to work with us, we've got to do things this way, right? So yeah, it's just kind of being respectful with your clients, but also being strong in what needs to be done and how the process works with them. So take that process from that example of a Facebook client and use it right away. Let me know how you go with it. But now it's time to jump into the Facebook tutorial. Let's do it. In this part of the video, we're going to go step by step on how to set up a Facebook ads account and also your very first campaign. And as we go through it, I will be talking about some more advanced topics, but these are things you can just think about later. Right now, I only want you to focus on the steps you need to go through to get your campaign first set up. So first of all, we need to create our business account. So you're probably already logged into Facebook. In that case, you can just hit create account. Then you're going to need to put your business name there. So we can call it this one, Dylan's Business. Your business email address. And then just your typical step-by-step typing out everything. And once you've typed in all of your information up here, you're going to want to tick whether you're promoting your own goods and services or whether you're an agency providing Facebook ad management or ad campaigns to other businesses. So we're promoting our own goods and services in this case. So we'll hit submit. Great, so you'll get this little notification box here. It'll say your business has been created. The confirmation will be sent to your email address, so of course just hit that and confirm it. So what you can do later is create your own ad account, create your own Facebook page, and then you can add people that you want to manage your business page and business account as well. These are things that we'll cover in another video, but you can easily just Google or YouTube search those and you'll easily figure it out. Basically, once you hit one of these, it's going to ask you which one you want to add, and then you'll just type it in and hit add page, and then it will add straight to your account. So once we land on this page here, we're going to want to add our ad account. So we're going to hit create ad account. We want to create a new one. Dylan's ad account. And you want to select the currency that you want to pay with. So of course, once again, you want to put down whether you're an agency offering Facebook advertising to other businesses or clients, or you want to run it for your own business. In this case, we want to run it for our own business. So of course you want to first of all assign all of the permissions of the account, so manage ad account at the top level to yourself, and you're going to hit assign. Well done. Now we've created our ad account. So you can also add people that you want to manage your account, and you can add your page, your Facebook page, which you should create before adding it, because once you hit add, it's going to ask you to add page, and then this one here. But you can also hit add page, and then you can create your page as well. We'll skip over that right now as it's pretty simple. We might go into that in another video, but let's focus right now on setting up our ad accounts. So we're going to head over to Ads Manager. And then of course, if you want, you can read through all of this really interesting information, or you can just hit I accept. Yep, I'm glad. Now we're going to go into how to set up your very first Facebook campaign, and I'm going to use in this video just basically go through every single piece of the campaign and break down for you what I'm thinking when I'm setting everything up, so that when you're setting up your first campaign, you can think the same way. But what I want you to do before you create your very first ad account is set up your pixel. So the pixel is essentially the piece of code that you're going to put onto your website that will track every single person that visits your website and every single action that they take, so you can give that data to Facebook and allow them to show your ads to the people who are most likely to take those actions as well. This is a really important step that you should definitely do before going ahead and creating your campaign and wasting money. So what we'll do is we'll head over to Pixels. So you see here how it has custom conversions. You can set up these conversions yourself using your own specifications of certain actions that people take on your website. But you can also just use Facebook's predetermined actions as well and just input the pages where conversions take place. So for example, if someone fills out a form on your website, they're redirected to a thank you page, you would use that thank you page to track the people that fill out that form. So what we're going to do now is create a pixel. And you're going to want to put in the website URL the pixel's for, but this is optional, so we'll leave it blank for now. Hit create. Now, all we need to do is install some code. What I recommend is you get your developer to install the code for you. In this case, you can email those instructions to them, or you can hit the manually install code yourself button, and that will allow you to do it yourself, which I don't recommend unless you're a bit savvy with this kind of thing. So first, you're going to want to add this code to the header of your website. So you can just copy this, click here, and then add to your website's header. And this is where you can send test traffic to the URL that you add the pixel to make sure it's set up correctly. So what you'll do is you'll put in your URL here, send test traffic, and then you're good to go. But that's pretty simply how you're going to set up the pixel. You're going to either set it up yourself, have your developer set it up, and then send the test traffic to just test whether it's working, which is important of course. And what I recommend doing is creating some custom conversions once you've done. So like I mentioned, if someone fills out a form and then they're redirected to a certain page, you can use that page as the value. So for example, you might want to call this lead, and then we can put them down as lead here. This is the value, meaning how much the lead is worth. So if you know your average lead value, you can put that here. So this is for an offline event as the default, but we want an online event. So we'll hit website event, and then you can put down contains, and let's say that the URL for that form is thank you. So there's within the URL there is this thank-you, and then it's going to track all of the data of people that go to that page or any page with thank you in it. Hopefully it's only one page so you can track correctly, and then you're going to track all of the leads that take place and allow Facebook to optimize the ads to people that it thinks will take that same action. So this is really important. So we're going to go lead, and like I did just before, lead, create. So create a custom conversion for every single point in the funnel that you want to optimize for in the future. Right now, of course, we're just going to optimize for clicks because it's a brand new website, or landing page views, which will work quite well as well. If you already have a lot of traffic going to your website, it'll be tracked via the pixel as well. So it'll optimize for landing page views via that. Now that we've got the Facebook pixel set up, let's go and create our very first campaign and head back to the Ads Manager. Now that we're in the Ads Manager, let's go through step by step how we're going to set everything up here. Okay guys, now for the exciting part. I'm going to show you how to set up a campaign for optimal results, especially when you're beginning with a brand new account. Because the way you set up a campaign when you have an account that you've been running for a long time is a little bit different to when you're first starting out. And that's just because we don't have so much data with Facebook straight away, so we're going to need to build up that data through the strategy I'm about to reveal to you here. So as you can see here, the budget is going to be moved to the campaign level. Basically, in any Facebook campaign, you have 3 levels. The campaign level, then within that, the audiences or the ad sets, then finally the ads within those ad sets. So within a campaign, the ideal setup in the beginning is to have 5 ad sets that you're testing with 5 ads or 5 variations of an ad in each of those ad sets. And that way we can test both the audiences and the ads. But let's go step by step now. What I want you to do when you're in your campaign is go to Ads Manager. Click on Create here. Well, let's exit out of all these random policies quickly. You may want to accept some of them. So I always go with Select Guided Creation. I would recommend that, especially if you are just starting out, because obviously it does help to have a helping hand from Facebook themselves. The first thing we need to think about is our objective. Now, when you are starting out, we can go with some PPE or pay per engagement campaigns, such as this one here, or we can go for video views, or it could be brand awareness. That would be mainly for trying to build some recognition around our ad account and our Facebook page, so that Facebook knows that we're a legit advertiser, not some spammy fake news account, and that allows us to get much higher quality traffic. That's something that you do want to think about in the beginning, is running an engagement or brand awareness campaign in order to get some likes on your Facebook page. I didn't do that in the beginning, but I know a few of my colleagues do that now, and they continually run their engagement campaigns alongside their conversion focus campaigns. But what we're going to focus on today is setting up a conversion campaign, because obviously at the end of the day, especially if you are running an agency model business, you're going to be wanting to target conversions so you can focus on getting sales rather than just getting brand awareness, because we're small businesses. We're focusing on getting sales as quickly as possible, direct marketing, getting straight to the point. We're not so focused on creating massive brand awareness. We're not Coca-Cola or Apple. We don't have crazy marketing budgets to waste and throw down the drain. So we need to be as efficient as possible, and that's why we're going to focus on conversions. But like I mentioned before, they are switching to campaign budget optimization. So you're going to be spending your budget at the campaign level rather than the ad set level pretty soon. I haven't really tested out the difference right now, but I do believe Facebook is going to be fully moving over to that as the only setting you can use pretty soon. I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. Right now we'll just leave it blank and go ahead and set up our ad account. So this is only if you haven't already set up an ad account. Obviously you're going to want to put in your currency that you want, the country that you're in, and the time zone that you want. Let's just go continue here. Whenever I create a new ad set name, I like to name it based on what the audience is, of course. So let's say, for example, this one's going to be focused on desktop, and we're going to target Kobe Bryant lovers, golf fans. Those two things have nothing to do with each other, but that's just the way we're naming this. Once you've put in the general audience that you're targeting and the placement, then you can put in, for example, the demographics, so male 45 to 55. And let's say that was the audience that we're going to create here. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, you need to set up your Facebook pixel before you start focusing on setting up campaigns, because we do want to track all of the data going to our website and track every conversion that happens so that we can allow Facebook's algorithm to optimize and get our ads shown to people that are more likely to convert. So that's very, very important, and do that first. Once we've got that pixel set up, we can then add in custom or lookalike audiences if we want. The difference between a custom and lookalike audience is a custom audience is just a list that you upload yourself. So it could be a list of 100 to 1,000 customers that you're uploading onto your Facebook audiences tab. It's not letting me click on it for some reason, but basically it just says audiences here. You can click on audiences and go and create a custom one. Now what a lookalike audience is let's say we uploaded that custom audience of our clients. We could then make an audience that looks like that custom audience, that has all of the characteristics in Facebook eyes, the audience that's most likely to be similar to the custom audience that we uploaded. So what that means is, let's say you uploaded 1,000 customers from the United States. We could make a lookalike audience of those 1,000 customers as a 1 million size audience, so 1% audience audience look like? So that's pretty massive opportunity for us, because it means that we can allow Facebook to choose an audience they think best suits our highest performing audience, which is our clients, of course. So we can target much more highly by going for a custom audience. If we already have access to an audience that we know converts, such as our clients, then we're going to want to select the location. You can select as many locations as you like, and you can also exclude locations if you don't want to advertise in certain areas. Then of course you can select the ages, genders. You can add in languages as well, which is something that's important you want to consider. So let's say, for example, I was advertising in Poland and our ads were in English. We would only want to target English speaking people in Poland, because obviously everyone that only speaks Polish is not going to engage well with our ad, and that means it's going to perform pretty poorly. So that's something important to take into account. Now, the next thing we can do once we've set up all of the demographics is go into detailed targeting. Now, this is where it gets exciting. If you don't have a custom or lookalike audience to use, you can get very, very granular just by targeting demographics, interests, and behaviors. Let me show you the demographics options we have: education, financial. We can target people that have a certain income level. This is mainly US, of course. And then even just job titles if we wanted, or industries. So you can get very targeted in terms of demographics. And then when you go to interests, you can target all of these different interests, and then within them you have different options. If they're interested in toys, for example, which would be good for our dog toys business we've set up here. And then behaviors is even more intense. So for example, you can go into digital activities and people that have used Facebook payments in the last 30 or 90 days. So you can imagine that if you put a different combination of pages, interests, behaviors, you can get very, very targeted with the audience that you want to go for. And of course, an ideal campaign setup would have around 5 different audiences that you're targeting and testing out. And you can also narrow down these audiences as well. So let's say you put in Kobe Bryant. We wanted to target Kobe Bryant as an interest, and then you could narrow the audience. They must also like golf. Then let's say we want to exclude people that like basketball. You can get very, very targeted with this, and you could even exclude job titles, basketball player. So that's pretty cool. On this side here, you can see the reach that's going to enable you. So the possible reach that you can get here is 1,000 to 11,000, and that's of course pretty small because we've only targeted Poland up here. We could add in a lot more countries, and it's giving us an estimate of how many conversions. So that's going to be accurate based on how much data Facebook already has on your past campaigns. So it's not going to be very accurate, of course, if you're a brand new Facebook account. So you could expand interests when it may increase conversions at a lower cost per conversion. I typically leave that unselected, but I haven't tested it. Definitely something I need to test. But so I would recommend keeping expand interest unselected, just so that you can test only this audience set here, and then we'll know that we are testing this and not some random ones that Facebook is showing. So you can optimize for cost per result, and that would essentially show on most of the different platforms Facebook offers, but I would recommend having a different ad set per placement, just so that you can test out which placement is working best for you, and that'll allow you more data on what to focus your spend on in terms of both the audience, so the demographics, interests, custom lookalike audience, and the actual placement, so desktop, mobile, messenger, etc. So the highest performing that I see are the feeds, so the mobile and desktop feeds, and the Instagram feed. So I typically only select one of those 3 in my ad sets and then test the 3 of them. So the way that you would select just a mobile, just desktop feed, by the way, is by clicking on device types, and then you can deselect mobile, for example, and it will only have desktop options here, and then we can just deselect these, and now we're only testing the Facebook feed on the desktop. When you're targeting only mobile devices, you can target specific operating systems, but there's really no benefit in doing that for the majority of us running agency style businesses, so I wouldn't worry about that option. When you are targeting mobile devices, you have the option here to select show only when people are connected to Wi-Fi, which is a good option in my view, just because you know that they are going to be able to get through to your website. If they're not connected to Wi-Fi, maybe they don't have any internet on their phone right now, and then they're not going to be able to get through to your website. So that's why I usually include only show on Wi-Fi when we are targeting mobile. Now, finally down here, you can optimize for ad delivery based on conversions, landing page views, and other options like link clicks, impressions, or daily unique reach. What I recommend is based on conversions, and in the beginning, when we've got a brand new account, we're going to be focusing mainly on views, page views, because we do need to be getting at least 100 views or 100 conversions of a certain event each week in order to optimize for it. So in the beginning, you're probably not getting 100 new purchases or 100 new leads. You're probably going to need to target 100 website visits, and we can actually optimize for it. And then if you know your data, if you know the numbers, the conversion rates between visits, leads, purchases for yourself, you can put down what you want the average cost per conversion to be. I recommend leaving that blank in the beginning though, just so we can allow Facebook to determine who they show our ads to without us blocking them from doing so by setting limits anywhere. When it comes to the daily budget, of course, you only want to set a budget that you're comfortable with. You need to set up a budget on Facebook that you're comfortable with losing, whether that be $1,000 per month or $100 per month. You must be happy to lose everything that you do spend on your Facebook ads, because in the beginning you are really just purchasing data and figuring out the best system and best ad, best audience, best landing page setup in order to get the best results. So because of that, we are going to be losing a little bit of money in the beginning, but in the long term, as long as we are improving what we're doing and following the data, following the results, we will get there in the end. And that's why you do need to think very thoroughly about how much you can afford to lose each week. So you can even put down a $5 budget for a certain ad set. And now it's going to take us to create ad. So typically you'd have 5 ad sets created with 5 different audiences, and of course have a spreadsheet tracking all of this. But let's say, for example, this ad name is going to be video ad. The next thing you need to do is make sure that you have your Facebook page selected here. So mine's called Dogs and Me, completely made up, but nonetheless, we go down from there. We can select a carousel style ad. So what that's going to look like is 3 different images with a different description, different headline, and we can have different CTA. But essentially this would be used if you have different examples of your product or your service, different offerings that you want to advertise in the same video. So you can see down here that we can select a card for all 3, and we can even add a new card. You can add as many as you like, but you can put in your URL, the description, which is optional, and then the headline. So that's essentially what it would look like here. Then you have the option of a single image or video, which is what I usually use, and I think it's the best option for you if you are doing more agency style ads, because you can have it very specific in terms of the messaging rather than multiple options, which are more useful for when you're selling multiple products within a single store. So let's say, for example, we wanted to upload an image here. So you can add up to 6 images. You can also select videos, of course, so you could upload a video and then you can add subtitles to that video and a thumbnail as well, which would need to be customized to the video. If you Google Facebook ad specifications, it'll lay out all of the different image specifications that you need. Then finally we have the collection. I can't click on it right now, but basically what it is just a bunch of different images. So it would be all of the products in your store. So for example, of course, if you have a collection of fashion, you would want to select the collection and show people all of the different options available so they can look through them. But for this video, we're mainly focusing on an agency style business, so we'll stick to the single image or video option. So let's go with an image. Now, this image wouldn't really be a good ad, and the reason why is it's not really saying anything. It's actually a graphic from one of our blog posts. But with an image, you want it to really pop out, so you want the colors to be really solid, really bold. And if it's going to be a video, you want it to engage or interrupt their pattern in the first 3 seconds to grab their attention. Headlines work really well on images. The only thing is your headline needs to be only 20% of the image, or Facebook will limit your reach, so that's something really important to consider. But having a headline on the image and making the image very eye-catching with something interesting, which kind of disrupts the pattern of what people are used to looking at on Facebook, will enable your image to capture attention really well. So you just don't want to create a stock image that everyone else is using of a few people sitting at a coffee table smiling, drinking a coffee. It has to be something random and eye-catching, and using bold colors works really well for that. Eye-catching headline, calling out your audience works really well for that. And then also strange images which don't really make sense, and sometimes they don't even need to make sense for the ad itself, but of course I recommend making it make sense. You don't want to be too clickbaity. But yeah, so essentially the main tips for an image are just to keep it bold, solid, different colors from Facebook colors. So blue is not really a good option, brighter like yellow and red are good options. Then if you're going to be using a picture of people, you don't want it to look like stock footage, make it look more random, something that will break the pattern of what people are used to looking at on Facebook, and then you'll probably have a winning image. Test a bunch of those, you'll find one that works. Then we have the text. So the text will typically be a description which will appear up above the image, and it will just describe exactly what you're talking about. So a good structure to follow for your text is attention, grab their attention, define the problem, tell them what the solution is, give some proof and credibility around that solution, and then have a call to action at the end. So let's just use this image for an example, and let's try and make something related. So a call out could be attention, business owners in Francisco. Let's say we're targeting San Francisco. Tired of, so this is the problem definition. And you could even put gaps between each of those 5 components I mentioned, just to create a bit of separation. And then what people will see, most of the, I think it'll just be this. So that's the attention and then the call out. So it doesn't need to say attention to grab their attention. It could just be a question. Questions work well. So looking to X without Y, or do you need X, or are you tired of Y? Think about X. Things like that just call out the problem and then tell them that you have a solution to that problem in the headline, but essentially just showing them that they're the people that you're talking to. If I was talking to just business owners in general in San Francisco, this would be a pretty good attention grabbing headline. Then we have the problem definition. In any solution that you provide to a problem, a good formula is always how to X without Y. That's one that I got from Frank Kern, who's a really, really powerful internet marketer. How to X without Y works very, very well, I found, in solutions. So try our video production services that get you conversions without. So this without is the important part. You want to say without some annoying thing that people are tired of doing, but you want to say the benefit that they're getting as well. So get you conversions without spending exorbitant amounts of money. So that's a pretty good solution. And then proof and credibility. So our customers make 1,000 times return on investment and we have 1 million awards. All of your ads need to be truthful. This is not very realistic, of course, but if you can use real data from what your clients have experienced or your product or just the industry in general, what data is already out there about what you've got to offer, and then any awards or any things that famous people have said about the product or service, it doesn't need to be your brand specifically, it could be the product and service in general, you can use as the proof and credibility. Now we want the call to action at the end. How about go to my website or go to the link and to learn more. That's the link there. They would go to that link to learn more. And you can see here that it doesn't show all of the text, but if they're interested in reading the rest of it, they would click see more and be able to read the rest of it. So this isn't even very long copy. It's very basic. We could make very, very long copy that would still convert really well. And funnily enough, a lot of people would still read it, and they do. Then we want to put in the website, dogtoysforadults.com. And of course the URL is. And then we have the headline. So of course the headline needs to be pretty short. You want to keep it around 5 words. They get sales without. Obviously this headline isn't really true. It would be really awesome if it was true. But if you don't have something that's really amazing like this, then obviously just try and make it as awesome as possible while still being realistic. So you can also test out these different call to actions. I typically use learn more. I found that to be the highest performing for me. You can also create that in multiple languages if you're targeting multiple countries. That's how you create a winning ad and how you can create an audience. And it is really simple, but the most important thing is just writing everything down in a document and also having a spreadsheet so you can track the performance. And like I mentioned multiple times in this video, you only want to spend as much as you're willing to lose each month, whether that be $100, $1,000, whatever it is. Make sure you have a stop so that you can stop spending once you spend too much without getting a sale, because it is very easy to lose money with Facebook ads, but it's very easy to win if you do test different audiences, test different ads, figure out what works, follow the data, and you'll get there eventually. In the next part of this video, I'm going to break down how I was able to get a 300% return on my investment in my very first 3 months of doing Facebook ads, and how you can too. I'm going to break it down step by step so you can go out there and get the best possible results with your first Facebook ad campaign, and I look forward to seeing what you can do.